Hello and welcome back to another reaction. In this occasion, Avatar: The Last Airbender Season 3, Episode 18. Last time we got a very interesting episode, a very funny episode. It was hilarious. We still got our existential crisis here and there, as I said before, but it was so much fun to watch. Honestly, I was laughing just at the idea. Just while I was remembering the episode, I was laughing so hard. Because yes, this play is ridiculous. It's exaggerating the characteristic of every single one of our characters. But that was make it funny. Because if you take this great show, as Avatar, and then you start making fun of it by exaggerating some of the points of, well, said show, yes, you get great comedy. Once it's just this little portion, not when it's every single day. Because look at what happened with Teen Titans, with Teen Titans Go later on. It's a terrible show. It's full of humor. Yeah, I don't like Teen Titans show. I understand it's for very little kids, but I don't like it. So that's why that is the other extreme. This is well done. That's what I meant. This episode is well done because it's just one chance, and the humor is going to, I guess, go back to be the normal humor of the show, and it's funny because of that. Because it's one little detail in the show. So yeah, that's what makes it funny. It didn't advance the story, and I don't think it explored as deeply as could be the characters, because again, it was a comedy chapter, it was a comedy episode, but still it was funny. For what it was honestly great. I love that episode. And again, I love how they show, even with the comedic side, are able to kind of make you think, especially with the interactions. I think my favorite interaction was between Toph and between Zuko. It was interesting to see how the different perspective of this play is portrayed in different characters, and I love the interaction between these two. It was a funny moment. It was an interesting moment again with Zuko and Toph. It was a lot of fun to watch the episode. But let me just remind you, because yes, I will need to do this every single day until you subscribe. Yay! Okay, going on. If you enjoy the content of the channel, please consider a subscriptions and turn on notifications, so you can get up to date with whatever we're doing with the channel. If you enjoy the video, please give me a thumbs up and leave a comment so I know what you think about my reaction, the episode, or the commentary I will be doing by the end. If you want to follow me on Twitter, the link is in the description below, and the Patreon is also in the description below. So yes, I think I have nothing else to say, so let's cut all of these and watch the episode, shall we? Okay, I'm back. I just watched a second time, and again, more times, the 18th episode of the series. There is an obvious contrast between this episode and last week's episode. Why I said this? Well, for obvious reasons. I think it's pretty obvious. The tone of the episode. The last episode didn't advance much the plot. It was kind of a way of us to relax, to have fun, and a lot of fun the last episode, and to our protagonists to have fun with this play, this ridiculous play. Yeah, it was, I think that it was the purpose of the episode, to have fun. One last fun episode before the huge storm, before everything that is supposed to happen happens really. Enough time for them to train, enough time for them to be ready, or as ready as you could be in such a short amount of time. This episode is intriguing, to say the least. I am still having troubles finding the correct words because of the impact that the episode left on me. Again, we have our different type of characters, and again, we have the rest of the group who are more accustomed to be relaxed, to be more, well, to have these moments of peace, and with Zuko, in which he's just so angry all the time. And yes, you can kind of see that moment. You kind of see how he behaves and how his attitude. His attitude has changed, obviously, but his core personality is still there. He is still kind of angry all the time for obvious reasons. Not as angry as before. I think he has found peace, but he is. Thanks to the information he knows, he is more apprehensive, he's more anxious, he's more nervous, he's more everything. So yeah, all the negative emotions are with Zuko in this case. Obviously, there is a misinformation between the two protagonists in this case, between Zuko and the rest. Zuko knows something that the rest don't, and the rest knows something that Zuko doesn't know. So yeah, that's why the disparity in this episode. But in the moment they have the same information is when everything starts to go faster and faster and faster. I was wondering why they didn't worry, why they have to worry about the Sozen Comet when they don't need to hurry up. Because again, yes, just as Sokka said, the Earth Kingdom has fallen, they have power of the rest of the world, so there is no hurry. He already did his invasion plan, he already did whatever he wanted to do, the Fire Lord, I mean. And I was wondering, yes, they are not constricted by this comet. They could do whatever they want, they can change their schedule, they can attack after the comet, and they will have a better opportunity. But obviously, the show is more exciting this way. And then again, I'm seeing in the perspective of the show creators. Because yes, you can have, okay, let them relax and when we are going to attack later on. But obviously, it will be worthless. The presentation of the Sozen comet will be worthless and will be, okay, then why did you tell me? Just to tell me that they invade the oh god, I forgot the name. The air nomads, they attack the air nomads, and that's why we need the comet. That's it. But obviously no, it has to mean something else. And thanks to the information that Zuko gave us, that's the reason. That's why they are in such a hurry to attack and defeat the Fire Lord. Because without the Fire Lord, I guess the chain of command is going to fall down. I don't know how, because I think they need to attack not only the Fire Lord, they need to attack at least the higher up generals and Azula, now the new Fire Lord. They need to attack them together, because if they are still there, they are going to continue with the plan. So yes, this is something interesting, because I guess the allies are going to appear again and they're going to help for a little bit, but obviously the major responsibility is going to fall into Aang's group and Aang in particular. So yes, that's what I'm guessing. Obviously, we got our different parts in this episode. We got our funny side, thanks to Sokka. Sokka, again, is a comic relief. He has a serious moment, but I think his major role is to be comic relief. A comic relief with a personality, which makes it a ton better than just your run-of-the-mill comic relief. That's what makes it funnier. And yes, the jokes were pretty funny to see, and especially to see a better interaction between Zuko and the rest of the group. That is something that we have been missing, because yes, he has been going well with almost everybody, but now that Katara is within this circle, that yes, okay, I have accepted you, I have forgive you, I have go beyond this betrayal that you gave me. Yes, it's something different. Now the whole group is together. It's funny to see the interaction, and it's fascinating to see these interactions. It's an interesting point to point out. But again, I think the real protagonist, and I know it sounds weird, is really Aang. Again, let's take into account that yes, Aang is the protagonist of the show. That is obvious. But let's take into account that not all episodes are Aang centered. There are episodes that obviously we have Zuko centered. There were a lot of those episodes, especially in this last season and the last few episodes. Of course, we have our episodes before that, but I think it's more prevalent in this third season. We have our Katara-centric episodes. We have tough centric episodes, I think. Yeah, I think it's true. We have our Sokka centric episode. Hell, we have even our Momo centric episode. That's how diverse the cast really is. Momo or Opa? Well, never mind. My point is that Aang is not always the center of the attention in the entire series. No, he has been in some episodes he just taking a step back and going to the background because that is what's necessary for this episode. But in this one, this is a very Aang-centric episode because we're dealing with Aang's personality. Again, this is something I covered in my last video, in my last commentary, that I cannot see Aang going for the killing blow against Fire Lord Ozai. I have to say his full name because I sometimes forget his name. But yes, this is something I am struggling with because again, Aang is not a killer. Aang is a pacifist. Aang is not a warrior. He has been not trained. He has been raised by being a pacifist. So I cannot see him killing in cold blood Fire Lord Ozai. That is what I cannot see. And the struggle in this episode is with that aspect of Aang's personality. Aang understands that Ozai is a terrible force. He's a monster. He's a terrible human being. But that's the point. He is still a human being. And Aang is not willing to take a life just because he doesn't like him. Obviously the show is going to resolve this somehow. But in my mind, I cannot see how this is going to be solved. Perhaps because I don't know much about the lore of the show. Or there is something else. But I cannot feel comfortable with Aang killing somebody just because of this. Yes, I know Ozai is a terrible character. I know that. I know he's responsible for the death of thousands and perhaps even millions of people in this earth, in this world. Obviously not always on the... Well, we don't see them, but that is war. But the show is very consistent with the actions and the personality of the characters. That is something that the show understands so well. It understands that you cannot give something that goes against the character's personality and expect the public to just buy it. Perhaps it will work because, okay, yeah, sure, I accept that this is the flaw of the show, but the rest is great and all that. But the show is not like that. The show wants to be great from beginning to end. And that is what I have been seeing during the entirety of the Season 1 and Season 2. So that's why I don't think this is going to be resolved with the death of Ozai. What is going to happen? I have no clue. How is this going to be resolved? I have no clue. But what I do have is faith in the show creators. Because they have handling almost every single episode flawlessly. There are episodes that are not as good as some, that's true. But I will not consider them bad. The bad episodes of this series are kind of the average episode of a lot of series. And I mean Western and Eastern animation. That's how good this series is. So that's why, and I am struggling with every cell in my brain to try to understand or trying to predict how this is going to happen. And I know I should just enjoy the show, but that is not me. That is not me. I need to think ahead. That is what perhaps you enjoy the show by this, but I tend to do that. That's why I sometimes do the marathons, because the marathons help me to kind of diminish this part of me because I'm going to see it next. I'm going to see the next. So there is no problem with that. But with the reactions, I cannot do that because believe it or not, it's tiring to do all this. I can tops do 2 episodes in the same day when I have time, obviously. Because yeah, it's tiresome. I need to eat something. I need to think. So yeah, that's why. But it's again, it's fascinating to see, and I want to see how it's resolved. It's not against the show. No way against the show. I love the show. I meet the show way too late. I would love to see it when it was at the peak of its popularity, because that will be fascinating. But again, it is hard trying to imagine something else. So anyway, yes, I think I focused way too much into this point. Again, I cannot see Aang killing Ozai. There must be some other way. What? I don't know, and I'm eager to find out. There are other minor aspects in this one. Obviously, still speaking about Aang, how he just was attracted to this moving island. Because he was, I said during my reaction, this was kind of zombie-like when he was going to the island. He left everything and just Momo followed him. That's why he's with him, because he followed it or she followed it. I don't know. But still, there is a certain point. Obviously, this is something that we need to see, and perhaps nature is trying to help Aang to find a way. Because again, the Avatar is the connection between 2 worlds, the spiritual world and the earthly world, let's say. So yes, it's obvious that nature wants to restore balance as much as the humans want to restore balance. Well, except the Fire Nation higher ups. But yes, obviously nature is doing something. What is this something? I don't know. I wanted to find out in this episode for obvious reason. That's the point of the episode. Just get you excited for the next one. So yes, I'm pretty excited for the next one. And yes, unfortunately, our spiritual journey with Zuko and Toph is kind of a letdown. I wanted to see something else, but yeah, Zuko's mind is more preoccupied with finding the Avatar than with being with Toph. Understandable. It's a shame, honestly. It's a shame. And yes, it's obviously the techniques that they are going to learn. That the technique that Aang needs to learn is to redirect lightning. I don't know if the Avatar could create lightning with enough training, but I don't know. Maybe take decades. I don't know what is going to happen. Perhaps it's just going to be redirected. And obviously the last part of the episode, because yes, I speak about Aang and the personalities and the characters and everything that I wanted to say about Aang and his little outbursts. Because yeah, again, it's understandable. Nobody can understand because they were not raised as Aang was raised. This is something I almost forgot to say. Not everybody was raised the same way as Aang. Let's take into the consideration that Aang is supposed to be kind of a representation of the monks of Tibet. That's what I guess. And the monks are supposed to be peaceful, are supposed to be in balance with the world. They are not there to take lives. The Kung Fu is more for a spiritual journey more than anything else. That is what it's supposed to be. And that is kind of the representation of Aang. It's difficult for him, and the rest are not like that. They are accustomed to fight, they are accustomed to other stuff. They were raised to fight, actually. Especially Zuko, because yeah, he was raised into a family of despots. Yeah, his father is a piece of shit. His sister, even if she's a badass, she's a piece of shit too. She's a terrible character. And this is something that we must understand, that she is not a nice person, let's say. It's different, and Toph is a rebel because her father just pampered her way too much, and she wants to be a rebel, and she wants to fight, and this is exciting for her. Even we saw during the mock exercise against the Fire Lord, well, the Melon Lord, she was excited because this was a game for her. So their personalities are very, very different from Aang's personality. Again, Aang is a pacifist, and this scene when they are discussing is the first time I see him as angry as this. Well, no, perhaps it's the second time. When they kidnap Oppa, is when he was very, very angry. But this one is still too. It's very close, and he needs to vent. He needs to meditate. He needs to rethink the strategy or rethink what he's going to do, because he knows that for now his only path is to kill somebody, even if that person is Fire Lord Ozai. He's still a person. And I love the little detail that we were shown here, that the picture, well, the drawing of Fire Lord Ozai when he was a baby. He was cute, he was innocent, and yes, I think it's neat, and I think it's a very small detail, but perhaps not a lot of people are going to concentrate, but I want to concentrate on this one. Because this humanizes Ozai. We tend to dehumanize the tyrants, the dictators. We tend to treat them as monsters. We say, okay, he's a monster, he's terrible, he's blah 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 blah. And yes, as Aang said, they are terrible people, of course. Hitler was a piece of shit, of course. He deserved to die, yeah. Stalin was a piece of shit, of course he was. He killed his own people, and he died how he deserved, alone because nobody dared to even touch him. Mao Zedong was a terrible person, yeah. All of these dictators are terrible persons, but we forget that they are still human. And it's important to humanize them so you will not repeat the mistake. Why I said this? Because you might think, oh, they are monsters. I cannot be a monster. I am not a monster. I love my family, I love somebody, I have friends, etc, etc, etc. If I do terrible things, I'm not a monster, because I'm still human. That is the proof. Hitler, Mussolini, all of these bastards were monsters. They were not humans. So therefore, I am not a monster. Therefore, I am not doing terrible things. I am still redeemable. That's the point. We need to understand that they are humans. And we need to understand that we as humans have that capability of evil. That's what we need to understand. All of this obviously is building up the character of Ozai. Is giving us a different perspective. And in the last moment, in which obviously we saw Ozai as the terrible dictator that he is when everything is starting to be understood. That he doesn't care about anybody else but himself. He is the only one who deserves to be on the top. Nobody else. Not even his favorite daughter. Because yeah, I guess Azula was always his favorite daughter. That's his favorite child. He sees everybody else as inferior to him. If he could find a way of being immortal, he will go for it. He will rule the world for all eternity. And of course he's going to delegate this now meaningless title for him of Fire Lord to his daughter, because yeah, I don't care about that. I'm going to rule over the world. I just need a region for the Fire Nation. I'm going to rule over you. So yeah, you can be Fire Lord. It's meaningless to me now. Now I am the Phoenix King. That ego is outstanding. So yeah, it's fascinating to see this man so full of himself, so sure that nobody is going to stop him. And yes, obviously from his perspective, yeah, there is no way anybody could stop him or his conquest of the world. It is a glimpse of his personality. That again, he doesn't care about anybody but himself. He's the most egocentrical man in the entire world. Yeah, he is the perfect villain, honestly. He's an amazing villain. He's an amazing villain. He's a terrible monster, you want to call it, even. Again, this episode gave us a lot of information, a lot to think about, and a lot to analyze. But again, I think I really exhausted the topic of this one. I hope you enjoy it. And yes, it's if you think I missed something, because I always get that sensation that I miss something with my analysis, please let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy the content of this channel, please consider a subscription and turn on notifications so you can get up to date with whatever we are doing with the channel. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up and leave a comment for the reason I gave you before, or for any other reason to let me know that I am awesome or that I am terrible, whatever you want to tell me. Yes, the link for Twitter is in the description below, alongside with my Patreon, which of course contains my full uncut reaction. But anyway, yes, I think that's it for now. I think there is nothing left for me to say. I hope you enjoy it, and yes, I'll see you on the next one. Bye!
Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, give it a like so the algorithm from YouTube will help me out. And check my other videos, share them, and also why not subscribe to my channel and join this community. And as always, I want to thank you for your attention, your likes, and even your dislikes, your comments, which is something I always look forward to read. And yeah, once more, thanks and see you on the next one.